My name is Julian Cribb. I'm an adjunct professor in science communication, but I'm also an agricultural journalist, and I've been interested in the development of the Murray-Darling Basin and the farming industries there for many, many years. The first thing I would say is that people who live there are deeply worried. It doesn't matter which town they're in. What is happening to them is beyond human experience. The waters are much more scarce now than they have really ever been in past history. We had no idea that Australia was going to get this dry when we built all those towns. So it's a very disturbing thing. Now, obviously, in some towns they're starting to come to terms with it and recognise that water in the rest of the 21st century may be very scarce due to climate change, due to the demands that we've placed on it. Across the inland, the red gums are dying. The red gum is an iconic tree to Australians. It is the great majestic gum tree of the river basins, and it's dying everywhere. There are enormous forests that are dead now in Macquarie marshes and elsewhere. These areas, wetlands that have been allowed to dry out. So there is a tragedy taking place that is absolutely transforming the landscape. The grandchildren of today will not see the Australian that their grandparents saw. The Murray-Darling Basin is a food bowl, and there are many food bowls like it, like the Indus-Ganges food bowl in India and the Yangtze Yellow River food bowl in China. Major river food bowls, especially many of the food bowls in Africa, for example, around major rivers like the Volta and so on, the Congo. In almost every one of these cases, the rivers are in diabolical trouble. The rivers are being emptied, the groundwater is being drained, the soils are drying out, the lakes are filling in with sediment. So in almost every single one of these major river basins, particularly in the drier areas, that's 25 degrees on either side of the equator, there is a diabolical problem emerging for the world. And we have to learn to manage these basins with much greater efficiency and sensitivity for the environment than we have now, or we are going to be in a lot of trouble. Colin Charteris, the Director General of the International Water Management Institute, says this could be one of the things that leads to global food insecurity. See, by 2050, you're going to have around about 7 billion human beings living in these water insecure areas and food insecure areas. That's a very unstable world that we're leading up to. Farmers are the most important people in the world, because not only do they feed us every single day of our lives, but they also look after 50% of the world's fresh water. And they also look after 40% of the world's land mass. And they manage a good deal of the biodiversity. So farmers, besides being farmers, are also major managers of the environment in which we live. They manage about a third of the atmosphere. Agriculture produces about a third of the greenhouse emissions. So farmers are not just farmers. They are people who are in control of the environment, which is going in turn to influence the human destiny. What we need to do in the world is to take the best ideas for how we use water and share them as rapidly as we can all the way around the world. So the very best ideas from the Murray-Darling Basin need to be shared with the people who are critically short of water in India and China. You know, the North China Plain is critically short of water. The Ogallala Aquifer in the United States is critically short of water. We're critically short of water in the Middle East and places like that. And when the Himalayan glaciers melt, finally, there's going to be absolute crisis in the North Indian grain bowl. So the ideas for how you use scarce water are going to be absolutely central to the destiny of the human race. Oh,